Welcome to Studio D on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. This is Sooner Sports Pad, brought to you by OU Health. And now, here's your host, Abby Bennett.
Welcome to Sooner Sports Pad. I'm Abbi Bennett, and standing next to me are our analysts. You've seen her before, Mady, Daddario, and for the first time ever, Ben Thomas. Now, Mady, do you want to tell us who's in our audience tonight?
So tonight we're joined by tons of OU students here to cheer on some of our OU athletes. Ben, who are they cheering on tonight?
They will be cheering on two members of our OU wrestling team, Jake Woodley and Josh Heindselman, who's in our audience tonight.
Now, looking ahead down the road in the show, one of our analysts had the chance to catch up with two members who are alumni of the men's tennis team.
And later on, Ben and I are going to be talking about which OU athlete we think is the best freshman.
And we will also discuss which team took the biggest leap from last season.
Now, Mady and Ben, over the weekend, the men and women's track and field team competed in Ames, Iowa, where some Sooners won titles and even broke a school record. Olivia Luking swept pole vault with 4.42 meters. Peyton Montana threw for 17.2 meters in shot put. And on the men's side, Rayvon Allen soared for 7.8 meters, winning long jump. And Vernon Turner took home the high jump at 2.23 meters. But I'm not done yet, you guys, because the men's 4x4 relay closed out the day with a top 10 time in OU history, running for 3 minutes and 6 seconds to notch a bronze medal and bump up to number 7 in the program. And another group of Sooners were also on fire over the weekend, and that would be the men's hoops because they took down their Bedlam rival at the LMC. The Sooners snapped their 4-game losing streak and recovered from an OSU 14-point lead, winning the game 66-62. Tanner Groves had 14 points, and Jordan Goldwire and Mo Gibson were right behind him, both adding 13 points for the Sooners. Now, Ben, we can see how much potential this men's team has after their huge win. So what do you think the rest of their season looks like going forward?
You're right. They have a ton of potential. And even after a big Bedlam win, I think this team has a chance to make a tournament. Yeah. But the NIT tournament, not March Madness. I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But for any chance for this OU team to make it into March Madness, they would need to make a deep run in the Big 12 tournament. And the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball. I really don't think it will happen. But that's not such a bad thing. They would make the NIT for the first time since 2004. And with a first-year head coach, he's gotten this team to kind of where Lon Kruger usually has this team, kind of hovering around the bubble a little bit, either in or just out. But they're projected to be a number 3 seed in the NIT, and I think they could be a sneaky dark horse team to win it all. Just saying. So, obviously, they haven't had the greatest season in terms of basketball, but for Porter Moser in his very first year to have this team just outside the bubble, he's laid a great foundation for this program.
Sure.
And success is imminent with this program because I think next year with some new recruits, some new fresh faces, I think this team will take off, just not this year.
I think the key word there, too, is foundation. I feel like a lot of times when a new coach comes in, a lot of fans expect them to just go out there and kill it right away. You know, it's a new legacy, it's a new team, but you have to lay the foundation first. You know, this team needs to get the reps. They need to get the skills that they need to go dominate in the NCAA tournament maybe in a few years.
Exactly, and it's his first year.
Exactly. We need some time. We need some time.
Hey, they've exceeded a lot of expectations in his first year and the team in general.
Absolutely. Well, moving on to the women's basketball team, their time is now because they have had their best season for the first time in 5 years, and I really think that missing puzzle piece was Coach Jenny. She has brought so much to this team, and while the team is sitting number 3 in the Big 12 right now, they still have some business to take care of before the NCAA tournament. They need to go to the Big 12 tournament, and they need to make a statement there. I really think moving forward, the only team in the Big 12 that the women have yet to beat is Iowa State. So going into this Big 12 tournament, beating Iowa State would make a statement, and quite honestly, winning the whole tournament will put them on the map far more nationally for this NCAA tournament, give them so much more respect. They lead the Big 12 right now in scoring and in rebounds, so they have the talent. They have the ability to go out there and kill in this NCAA tournament, but I think they need to dominate in the Big 12 tournament first, for sure.
I think they could take home a Big 12 championship.
I
don't think
agree.
it's out of the
I
question.
hope.
I think they definitely can. And hot take, that might be the best basketball team in the state right now.
I'm
Men's
on
and
that.
women's.
Yeah.
And the Thunder. And throw the Thunder.
yeah.
And the Thunder, yeah.
Now, both of you also talked about these new coaches for both sides of the team. And, I am so excited to see what both of them can do and, help lead both of those teams to success. But stay right where you are, because when we come back, one of our analysts will give us a look into the lives of 2 members on OU tennis. Plus, we will be hearing from our guests.
SportsPad is brought to you by OU Health. The future of health is here. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. New episodes drop every day. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. The Sooner Sports Podcast is presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino. Thanks to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health and Anheuser-Busch, and our community partners, Fowler Auto Group, OU Health, OG&E, and Coca-Cola.
To be a champion is something an athlete can't do alone. Sooner Sports Pad's Shannon Ehrhardt tells us how 2 Sooners have each other to thank for their success after competing with and against each other for so many years.
Every great athlete reaches greatness when they found something that pushes their limits.
You could just watch him and you wanted to be like him, and the way he did things, he just led by example. And to have Alan by my side at OU, that meant, the world to me. Because like I said, without Alan, there would be no me.
Yule's role model and driving force, former OU and U.S. Olympic teammate Alan Bauer. And the 2 shed blood, sweat, and tears to get there.
Alan Bauer, parallel bars.
You go through these hell weeks of training where you're doing 2-day practices 5 days a week. You're working out for 40 plus hours a week. You're just exhausted. Going to the Olympics, that's always been a dream of mine. And so it was kind of hard just being an alternate, but I did everything that I could to be ready just in case something did happen.
But it didn't matter that Alan was behind the scenes while Yule stood in the spotlight.
It was hard because, I've always wanted to be on the big stage with Alan. I've gone to 3 world championships with Alan, so to have him not there, it definitely felt a little weird, but it felt like Alan was on the team. He didn't let that alternate position, take away anything that he had to share with us, and he was so supportive.
It was like this dream come true where even though I wasn't competing, I was so just ecstatic that he was out there just doing what he normally does. I don't know, it's hard to put into words, but that kid's more like family than a teammate to me.
You could call him a coach, a mentor, or a father, but he's the source of not only this brotherhood, but their triumph.
The small things that he does that makes the team get even closer, it'll feel like, Mark's against you and the team, but, he does that on purpose because he knows it's going to make you closer to the team. And at the end of the year, you just have to shake your head like, dang it, I knew Mark was doing that on purpose.
Every time we went into the gym, it was every day mattered so much to him that it was important to us. So he really went out of the way to be the best coach that I've ever had, and to be a parent figure, even if you're not in the gym.
Mark was the brains of the operation, but it was healthy competition that molded these athletes into champions.
One of the reasons that I stayed at OU was to continue training with Yule, just because we would constantly push each other back and forth, this battle to one-up each other, but it was in the most positive, friendly way possible.
When Alan hung up the uniform, he knew he'd left the program in good hands.
Alan would be coaching me after every turn, hey, how did this feel? Try this. I got to experience kind of the teammate/coach role that Alan brought.
He ended up being team captain, and I got to watch him lead the team just like I did. So it was he was following in my footsteps, but I was also following in his footsteps.
Michael Jordan said, his best teammate was Scottie Pippen. Without Scottie Pippen, there would be no Michael Jordan. That's the way I think of Alan. Without Alan helping me, day by day in and outside the gym, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Now it is time to welcome our 2 guests on OU Wrestling who are dominating the mat, Jake Woodley and Josh Heindselman.
Nice to meet you guys. Thanks for being here.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. So the Big 12 championship is this weekend. Jake, your highest finish was 3rd. Josh, yours was 4th. Okay. How much do you guys rely on that experience heading into this weekend?
The experience definitely helps a lot. You know, it's always in Tulsa, so we know the arena, we know what teams are going to be there and everything, and we've had a lot of matches with some of the guys that we're going to wrestle, so experience definitely helps a lot.
I'd say the same thing pretty much. You know, been there before. It's the same place in Tulsa, so you're kind of used to it all. You don't let the nerves get to you.
Well, speaking of experience, that's perfect. It leads us into our next question. When it comes to individual sports, it can really be half mental, half physical when you go and step out on the mat. You two are both veterans. Is there any advice that you guys give to rookies before their first time competing as an OU athlete?
Yeah, definitely. It's important to have a clear mind, especially going into the postseason, because you know you might not be seeded or ranked as high as you'd like to be. So having a clear mind, stay focused, and go pull off some upsets, get some wins.
I would say everyone's wrestled their whole life, so you can't treat it like any different than all your other matches. You kind of just have to remember that it's the same thing, even if you're in an OU singlet or not.
Great way to look at it.
Good way to look at it. Yeah, so now Coach Lou Rosselli has had success as a wrestler and a coach. How much has he played a role in y'all's growth as wrestlers?
Lou's a really good coach for us. He's really consistent. He's the same guy every day, and we come in and we work hard every day. He works hard every day, and he helps us develop as a team.
He's coached tons of Olympians and world team members, and he just has a lot of knowledge, and he shows you the right stuff, helps you get there. So he's awesome.
Sounds like an awesome coach.
Yeah, seriously. Well, moving from sports to in the classroom, we know that you two are both amazing athletes, but you've also been given some awards for your work in the classroom. How do you balance doing both?
A little bit of hard work, but also there's a lot of good resources here at OU, so we have tutoring and mentoring available for us, so it's kind of easy to stay on top of it when people hold you accountable.
We get free tutors for every class and a mentor making sure we're on top of everything, so it makes it really easy here.
Absolutely.
Sweet. So then one last question, a little fun one. What is your go-to post-match meal?
Well, I either go the carb route, like pizza or pasta, or I'll get a big steak. One or you know.
Both really good choices.
There you go.
Why not both?
He stole my answer. That's pretty much exactly what I was going to say, with strawberry ice cream too.
Oh, that's another really great choice. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with us here today. I hope you can eat some of those meals after this, but for now, I'm going to send it back to Abby.
Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all so much again for coming onto the show, but stay right where you are, because when we come back, Mady and Ben will face off. Thank you so much for sticking with us, and it's time for Mady and Ben to face off for the very first time, so let's get right into it. Now, there are plenty of rookies across all Sooner spring sports who are making their names already very well known. So Mady and Ben, what rookie do you think is just the best of the best?
I think the best of the best, and a name you need to keep an eye out for is Jordan Bowers from the number 2 ranked women's gymnastics team. Now, the Lincoln, Nebraska native has solidified herself in that lineup for multiple events and is even anchored for the Sooners in some events as well. She picked up another Big 12 newcomer of the week honor 2 weeks ago. And she currently ranks number 4 on vault, number 12 on bars, and number 16 in the country as a freshman. So, I know they came off a tough loss against Florida over the weekend, but she tied team highs on vault and floor, leading the way for the Sooners. And Bowers, clearly very talented, just only a freshman, and I think KJ Kindler has struck gold with this girl. You can put her any spot in the lineup, which as a coach, you love that. And she keeps dominating time in and time out, no matter where she's put in no matter what event.
Who does she remind you of a little bit?
I don't want to go that big.
I
don't know about swaggy, but maybe Anastasia
18.
Webb.
She's only 18.
Maybe Anastasia Webb, another really good gymnast. So
well, I guess we'll just have to find out.
You can't give the title of
I
just
know.
Maggie too early.
I know.
So.
Well, I'm going to stick with your theme in Jordan's, but I don't only think that my freshman is the best freshman at OU. I think she's one of the best OU athletes right now. Softball player Jordan Ball. This girl is insane. She is one of the best pitchers on the team. Ball was the number 1 prospect in the class of 2021. So it only makes sense that she plays for the #1 team in the nation. This weekend, she showed us why she was the #1 prospect, pitching nothing short of flawless with a perfect game, striking out 11 batters, allowing no walks, no hits. This girl is insane. That's not even it. Going further down the weekend against Utah, she finished out the game, striking out 4 of the batters, once again allowing no walks, no hits, and she's only a freshman. Once again, she's only a freshman, and she is on that mound like she's a senior, like she's a veteran, and I cannot wait to see what more is to come from her.
She has been dominating this competition. It has been nuts. And I'm waiting to see how she progresses with teams starting to kind of figure out her pitches and watching that film. But it seems like no matter what, she's got it. She's been dominating. In a perfect game, too.
I know.
Yeah.
And
At 18?
with all of her teammates next to her, too. I mean, this team's a unit.
Yeah, just another weapon of the plethora of weapons that Patty Gasso
Yeah.
has. So.
No, seriously. And you said it. I mean, both of them being only 18
It's crazy.
and being on these amazing programs is just, I don't know, crazy. So it'll be definitely exciting to watch them. Now, moving on, some teams have bounced back even harder from last season, and I've seen that in some of our Sooner spring sports. So what team do you think has taken the biggest leap from last season to this season?
So the Sooner team that I think has taken the biggest leap from last season to this season would have to be women's tennis. I mean, you can't help but pay attention to this team. Right now, they are #3 in the nation, and they are killing it. The only Big 12 team that they have played so far is UT, but don't worry, they are just one of 13 teams that the Sooners have taken down in duels this season so far. Like I said, they're sitting at 13-1 right now, which is huge. And 2 players that have been a big help to this team are sisters and double partners, Carmen and Ivana Corley. These girls are insane. They're ranked 4th nationally as doubles partners, and they're sisters. And honestly, to me, that might be the most impressive part, is that they can play as sisters and not get in a huge fight, because as someone with siblings, I don't think I could ever play tennis with my brother or any sport in general. So
I agree with you there. I could never play with my sisters. It was insane. But that team is so exciting to watch. They are so good. They might even be a sneaky national championship.
I hope so. I hope so.
I think so. Another team, you touched on it earlier in the show, but another team that has taken huge leaps is the #19 ranked women's basketball team. Now, Coach Jenny came over from Drake University, where she built that program, and she continues to build this program here at Oklahoma. 22-6 record so far this season, more wins than they've had in each of the last 3 seasons. Been as high as number 12 in the rankings, back-to-back top 10 wins earlier this year. And the best thing about it is they're just having fun out there. There's nothing more fun. And you're winning too. That makes a difference. But I think Coach Jenny Baranczyk was a huge breath of fresh air for this program. And just like Porter has set an awesome foundation for years to come, I would be very excited in packing that LNC for both men's and women's basketball coming up, because I think they're both going to be so good. But in the end, I mean, Jenny, her play style, how that team works within that play style, I think is perfect. They're just fast-paced, lots of scoring. And Taylor Robertson and Mady Williams look like they have taken new levels in their game, and I think a lot of it has to do with Coach Jenny.
Yeah, I really think you hit the nail on the head with Coach Jenny bringing a fresh breath of fresh air to this team. She really has, and I think that you can contribute a lot of their success to her coming in and changing that energy.
Yeah, she's been huge for them.
Yes. All right, well, our last segment of Face-Off. Let's see who's taking home this Face-Off win with their viral videos.
Ooh, okay. So, former MVP, NBA superstar, and well-known diva James Harden likes to warm up for games, dribbling behind his legs like every guy with superstitions has. And his bench in Philly, his new team, kind of had a surprise for him, and I don't even think he was expecting it. So, as you can see, Harden getting ready. He pulls the seat and falls right into it. So I don't know if that was planned, if it was a prank, but definitely not one of the MVP's brightest moments, I would say. He even pulled the chair out, or the seat out from under him. So I don't know how he thought, okay, there's going to be a seat below me. But, I mean,
it was
very
karma.
interesting.
That's what it was. Karma.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely karma for all the stuff he's done. So, definitely. But, yeah, not one of his brighter moments, for sure.
So, for my viral video, I'm going to stick with the NBA, but I'm going to go a little bit more wholesome. Normally, a lot of the times, the relationship between professional athletes and the media isn't always the best, but this video that went viral between NBA player Steven Adams and this reporter is one of the most wholesome things I've seen this week.
The overall, you talk about growth, the growth with Brandon Clark and Jaren's defensive games. Y'all's as a trio, a big.
Where are you from, bro?
Oh, I'm from Tennessee.
Oh, that's a sick accent, bro. I haven't heard that before. That's awesome, dude. That's sick.
I appreciate
amazing.
the kind. I'm a fan of yours as well. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you, sir.
Cheers, mate. Sorry, mate. Go ahead.
No problem at all.
I love that he had no idea what to say. It was so sweet.
The big Kiwi. He was a fan favorite here in OKC. I mean, the nicest guy, so I'm not surprised by that at all. So he was awesome.
Okay, audience, now it is your time to declare who your face-off winner is. So if you think it was Ben, cheer louder.
Yeah.
Okay, you have some fans in the audience, but if you think it was Mady, cheer louder.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Can't compete with that. Can't compete with that.
Way
Can't
to go,
compete with that.
Mady.
I got you in the draft.
But when we come back, I'll give you all the Sooner sports to watch for. Plus, we're going to have our draft segment of the week. There's a ton of Sooner sports happening this week, but to name just a few, men's basketball will be back at the LNC tomorrow night after their big win to take on the Mountaineers with a 6 p.m. tip-off. The women will head to Stillwater for their Bedlam matchup. Tip-off is set for 6:30 p.m. And women's gym is a huge meet this Friday against the #1 Michigan Wolverines starting at 7:45 p.m. Now it is time for this week's draft segment. So Mady and Ben, what Sooner or favorite Sooner athletes of all time are you drafting?
Well, for my first pick, it seems like a very easy answer. Who else could you pick but football legend Adrian Peterson? He is an icon. I mean, I don't even think I need to explain this one.
No, and I don't have to explain this next one either. Give me the swags, Maggie Swaggy Nichols. How could you not name her? I mean, she's probably on the Mount Rushmore of OU athletes.
For number 2, I'm going with one of OU basketball's recent best, Buddy Hield.
And I'm going to go with OU basketball's best in Wayman Tisdale. Let's go.
I don't know if that's OU's basketball's best. I think Courtney Love is.
Courtney Paris, yes.
Paris,
I got the boss. Get the boss up there.